Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official Budhole podcast. Thank you to all our friends and family that are tuning in and the straggler stranger that may find this randomly and regret listening to us. Well, most of you probably don't know what the Budhole is. We're a group of four guys that get together to talk about all the important things in life, like sports, video games, drinking, and other cool shit. Anything else is kind of obsolete. We focus mostly on sports with a taste of video games as well. We drop weekly podcasts. We have blogs. You can catch us on Instagram and Twitter at Official Budhole to get all of your not very exclusive content. So please tune in. This week we are going to be talking about the NFL's schedule changes along with a couple other rapid fire topics and then tuning into video games here at the end.
So without further ado, let's do this ish!
All right. Maybe some quick introductions. I'm Brandon.
I'm Gage.
I am Star Lamar.
And I'm Scott. Better known as Scooter for Scooter Scoops.
Scooter Scoops, Gage's Giggles,
Or Gage's Gossip.
Star Lamar's Takes,
Star Lamar.
and Brandon's Bits. So let's get started. First topic, we'll talk about NFL league change.
Ooh.
So proposed rule, owners are talking about bringing it from the standard 16-game schedule up to 18 games, but the starters can only play in a 16-game max cap. Right now, do you guys know any other details on that besides?
Well, as far as
What I
that goes,
mentioned?
I think the irony of the owners coming up with it is pretty funny. Why would the owners not want it to be 18 games?
Money.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the only reason, right?
exactly. Player safety, they pretend like it's a player safety thing by making everybody skip 2 games.
But they're already playing 16, so it's no safer than what it was before.
And then
Yeah,
it makes
yeah.
it more of a headache for...
But you also, does the 18 games just go straight after the 4 regular preseason, or do they take away preseason games to turn them into regular season games?
I would assume they got to take out at least 2 preseason games.
I agree. So the season's still the same length, but they just go with 2 more games that matter. I mean, try and get stands into the fill the stadiums up, and
It's more a question, really, of are the players going to go for the idea of skipping 2 games? They'd almost have to bring up and make salary cap bigger to have more players and expand rosters.
Yeah, roster would definitely have to get bigger.
I think going to more games is a good idea, but I personally think this idea of doing it is stupid. You water down the content, basically.
Well, nobody wants to go watch the backups play.
No.
I mean, there's a reason that preseason doesn't get the viewership that the regular season does.
Oh,
Yeah.
and the
Not
Canadian
the same
Football
game.
League doesn't get viewers. Nobody wants to watch bad football.
Yeah, and do they let the fans know when those games are going to be, that they're going to sit their starters? If you paid a lot of money to see Tom Brady sling the pigskin, you're going to be pissed when you show up there and you got Hoyer going.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be furious if I paid premium prices for it.
I would assume that they don't tell them. I mean, that's just going to be a tell that the coaches are giving to the other team saying, all right, this week we're starting Hoyer. You know, they don't want to do that. They're
No.
going to keep it as secretive as possible until game starts.
And I mean, maybe this is a good idea if they expand out to London or they go overseas and they have multiple bye weeks. Some way they could figure this out. But I don't think this is happening this season or anytime soon until there's more teams or more expansion teams. Something else major's got to change before they change the 16-game format. I mean,
My big thing looking at it is it's like, if you're going to go to an 18-game schedule, why would you not just put in 1 extra bye week, give every team 2 bye weeks, and let the starters play all 18? It's just a stupid concept to make your money makers in the league, your quarterbacks, sit out 2 games.
They're
It's
going to
dumb.
want more money for that, though. Like you said, that they'd have to raise the salary cap because if you're a running back, you have an average lifespan of 2.5 years. You add 2 extra games to that, your lifespan might 2 years now. So that guy's gonna say, no, I don't want $1 million. I would need $1.5 million because I'm not gonna play an extra season.
Well, then you think about the backups, too. They're not going to just go out there and play for their minuscule salary that they're getting. So that means that they're going to have to get paid more. And then you look at the Russell Wilsons of the world, and he's getting paid, what, 34? Is that what his deal was or something like that?
I think 34
Now he
around
probably
there.
gets bumped down to like 27 to 30. So this other guy can get paid because he's not just going to go out there and play for free.
Does add an extra importance to your backup position.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of makes sense. It takes place of the 2 preseason games. So it's basically is just sending your backups out there. I wonder if they would do a complete backup game or if it would be position by position. Because injuries come into play like that as well. If you had a guy that's injured for 2 weeks, boom, there's the cap hit. You can use that as the time rather than have to actually pull him and sit him.
I think go with the idea of it. Nobody wants to sit and watch 4 preseason games. The NFL is smart enough to know that, let alone pay the money to go watch them at the stadium. The stadiums are never full for preseason. Fans don't want to pay the money to go see them. So it's like, let's figure out a way to drop this down to a 2-game preseason. Really, your starters don't need to play more than of the first half of the first game. And then from there, figure out who your bench players are going to be, because that's all the preseason really is. So you go there, and then you add 2 games onto the regular season, which is what they're saying. And to me, that's how you rough structure it.
Well, and then you look at the preseason. I find importance in that. A lot of people don't, and the players don't like to play in it. But you think about it, the Adam Thielens of the world, that's how he got to start. He went to camp. He played through 4 preseason games. He really earned his spot. Now that's reduced down to 2. So it doesn't help them any. But then you look at the backups that are actually going to get the playing time, the ones that are going to make the team. They're going to get a better shot at playing, improving their talent, because they're going to have 2 opportunities to go out there. So it's kind of a catch-22 with it.
But then more so, like with this argument, is let's say you end up going to 18 games, you open up rosters, there's going to be more potential stories like Adam Thielen.
But then you also have the case where practice squad guy is trying extra hard in those 2 games he gets. And you see a lot more injuries, I bet, in those preseason games where guys know it's their life is on the line and they only got 2 shots instead of the 4. And you get the gimme 4th game where normally they'd be playing a full half of the game. Maybe these guys are flying around, a little extra hype, and you see way more injuries than they're already seeing.
And that's where, to me, part of the fun of the NFL is it is very, very, every week matters. So that's when you catch on to where you decide, oh, well, we're going to give 2 more games of the regular season, which you end up doing at some point. 2 games probably doesn't do it so much, but at some point you end up losing significance of each game every week.
Yeah, it muddies the water down a little bit.
Right, and then you end up with, I mean, when you look at the MLB, 162 games, everybody wants them to have less games.
NBA has got 82. They're talking about going down to like 54 or something along those lines.
The NBA does this, though, but it's not a rule. But they'll sit their starters, and fans are furious about it. They're actually putting in rules that they can't sit their starters. When AD was going through his whole thing, they were forcing them to play Anthony Davis, even though they didn't want him to get injured so they could trade him. So they're already dealing with this over way longer of a schedule and way more games. When you're dealing with 16 to 18 games, it just seems crazy that you're going to take them out for 18 games, for 2 games out of 18.
And NBA has been in the news this whole last, month with the free agency after the whole championship wrapped up. Maybe the NFL is just getting a little jealous that they're not in the news cycle and they're just throwing out random rumors to be at the top of the charts again.
Well, back to the games, too. I mean, they got 17 weeks, so they got 17 potential times to watch football, between the Thursday, Sunday, Monday, whatever. But you look at baseball, like you said, 162. Hockey and NBA both have 82. And then their playoff series are 7 games. They could go up to 7 games. So the NFL has got 17, and then they only got potentially 4 playoff games for 2 teams, So they're just looking to make up ground on it.
Yeah, and I think there is a certain level of, for the NFL this time of year, there's something to be said about them trying to stay in the news cycle. Because the NBA does the offseason right. They dominate it. And part of it is because the big players are extremely mobile in the NBA.
Well, that and the NBA's only got 5 starters on their roster. And when you got only 5 people and 4 others to really mesh with when you're joining a team, it's a lot easier for them to go into a system and learn it. And there's really not as many plays as the NFL. It's not as strategic. You got guys going in there dunking, guys going in shooting, pick and rolls, slide moves, whatever it might be, but it's not as demanding as an NFL season. If you're going on to a new team, you got to mesh with 10 other players on either side of the ball. You got to learn the new system. I mean, there's a lot of plays, a lot of schemes, a lot of strategies going into that where basketball just doesn't have the same effect. Same thing with baseball.
Part of it, to me, more so though with the NBA is it's no surprise the NBA is extremely player powerful. They give a lot of power to the players. Mm-hmm. And the NBA does not lack star power. The NBA has star power all over. Every single team, even the bad ones, have at least 1 star. And up until last year, a lot of the best teams had 3.
Debatable. The best teams do have 3, but there's a lot of bad teams without any stars. Depends what you call a star. Is Aaron Gordon a star?
That's fair. But you look at the Timberwolves, they have Cat. He's very good, and the Wolves are nothing.
Star in the making. and Cat.
If I turn
He
on
was
an
an
NBA
all-star. I can give you Cat.
to me, like if I turn on an NBA
Andrew
game-
Wiggins.
no, Wiggins is no.
Andrew Wiggins is a max contract player.
Never heard of
They're
her.
handing those out like it's
You
Halloween.
just remember before
this
they
offseason.
gave him that max, Glenn Taylor looked him in the eyes. That counts for something.
He knew he wanted it.
Tell me you're going to work harder.
Yeah.
I got a question. This might be more a personal problem for me, but what do you think HBO thinks about getting rid of 2 preseason games? Hard Knocks has been one of their money makers for a long time. Well, that cuts it down to 3 episodes.
Ooh,
What does HBO think? I think they got to say. They might need to just buck up some more money to the NFL.
I personally
Yeah.
think that HBO in the course of the preseason, I don't think they lack content. I think they get plenty of content, and I'm sure they end up cutting some really good stuff. So I think they would be okay.
They'd probably come in a couple weeks earlier and get some of the mini camp shit or something along
OTAs.
those lines. Rookie camp or whatever.
They focus on those borderline players, though. They focus on the people who make the team week 4. That's the storyline of Hard Knocks, and they won't have that if it's one game for the starters, one game for the backups.
It would at that point then just become truncated, though, where the second game of preseason, if that was the last game, would be the hot thing to go after. But something that I think about that would be freaking sweet is imagine HBO getting their cameras inside a war room on draft day for the NFL. They could break in some way with that, where they would add a lot of extra content, and they could follow that team from the end of the regular season through the off season.
hell
Like
yeah.
that would be kick ass to see a team going through the draft room, and that'd be fun.
I
That's
doubt
what
it happened this year because John Gruden didn't let anybody into that draft room.
Well, that's true.
So
Well, in that case, you just got to
Scouts
put a
home a
GoPro
week
on Mike
early.
Mayock.
coaches can't be here. Hell, HBO, get the fuck out too.
And personally, in my
Come
in
back
my
in
opinion,
July.
personally in my opinion, their draft really showed. I mean,
Hey, Cleveland Farrell is the man.
Is it Cleveland?
Maybe.
time will tell.
Future
I
Hall
don't
of
know.
Famer.
Time will tell.
Well, with HBO, I don't think the NFL gives a shit. I don't think they care if HBO is making money.
They don't.
And then
No.
to topple that, all they're going to end up doing is they're already talking about new deals for the NFL Sunday ticket. They're just going to make up with that. The next highest
About
bidder is going to get
time.
it.
That
Well,
needs
that
to
way
be an app.
anybody can get it,
Oh, yeah.
'Cause
Well,
it's kind of BS that you have to be a part of DirecTV to get it. It just sucks.
I know it's a little bit asinine for me to say this, being we're currently watching DirecTV, but fucking DirecTV sucks. The only thing they have going for them is the Sunday ticket.
You could leave out the whole part.
But
where
does
we're
any
watching it
cable
right now.
company really have anything that great?
No, not
I mean,
really.
they're all kind of blah. Fucking jack your charges up after a
It's
year.
no surprise that cable cutting is a hot thing, but this is a whole nother animal. We'll worry about this on another podcast.
Yeah,
That
the
Sunday
streaming
ticket?
debate will come up for sure.
Sunday ticket goes to an app. I would pay money for that.
Oh, I
How
would
much
too.
does it cost through
Absolutely.
DirecTV as a subscriber?
300.
Scott?
It's still $300, but I get it this
$300.
upcoming NFL season. I get it for free. So
First year's free, next year's 300.
I think we're gonna spend a lot of time in my butthole this fall.
Oh, it's a tight butthole, man. I'll tell you that much.
Will there
Sounds
be
like the
snacks?
butthole to be at.
Oh, there will be snacks.
It's
Oh,
got to
I
be
love
snacks.
eating in your butthole.
That's a tasty butthole, man.
That's a tasty butthole. All right, I don't know that we really have that much more to add on to this topic. But
Now, I think once some more news comes out on what their actual structure is, I think we'll be able to talk a little bit more. But for now, since we have limited information, let's move on to topic number dos.
Well, here's what I think we should try here. Since we're on the topic of the NFL, our best favorite time of the season is coming around, and that's Madden release date. They're leaking players already. Sounds like we got 4 99s that are going to be released at.
They're already
Uh,
released.
Oh, already released?
Yeah, it's
Perfect.
like 3 days ago. but-
Okay. So we got
It's
99
okay.
overalls.
It's okay.
I mean, have you guys heard? Do you know who's on the
Yes, the
yeah.
list
on the
includes
list?
Bobby Wagner,
All right.
Khalil Mack.
Aaron Donald,
Ooh.
and DeAndre Hopkins.
And
Nuke.
Nuke himself. 2 linebackers, huh?
Yeah, but they play different positions.
Mack and
Max
the
a
outside.
rushing outside linebacker, and Bobby Wagner's an interior.
one of the best
So-
in the game.
I heard a lot of people complaining about the fact that they are the same position and that it kind of muddies it, but they do play like a lot differently. They bring different attributes to the game. Bobby Wagner, he's more of a coverage, a run stuffer, where Khalil
cheater,
Mack.
blocking field goals.
Yeah, blocking field goals, getting free wins against the Vikings, but whatever.
Bobby Wagner, though, to me is kind of a surprise as a 99 because
Agree.
I'm not about to say he's not a good player because he's a great player, but I feel like he's not splashy.
94.
Yeah,
He's a 94.
yeah,
That's what it is.
High-end elite.
Everybody is thinking the same thing. He's
Yeah.
way higher than he should be.
yeah. So I don't know.
Luke Kuechly is the next
Highest.
running back on the list at 98.
Linebacker.
Middle linebacker, yes.
Yeah.
Interior linebacker. With no other ones making
I'm
the top
sorry.
10.
But how is Bobby Wagner the 99 and Luke Kuechly is a 98? I mean,
There's-
Bobby Wagner's the young stud. Is it the
Dude, you didn't hear?
West
They
Coast
implemented a
is-
whole nother stat line this year.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, and it's concussion. Luke Kuechly literally has a rating of 1 for concussions. And so that drops him from a 99 to a 98.
Is that why Aaron Rodgers didn't make the top 10?
He didn't make top 10 he made top 10 quarterbacks. He was 7. Came in at 90.
Top quarterback is Patrick Mahomes. at
97. Yep.
And
I
rightfully
like
so.
it. Yeah, he deserves
There's
it.
nobody that deserves to be a higher rated quarterback in the game than Patrick Mahomes.
That's
Defending
why
MVP.
you can't beat Kansas City in Madden, I guess.
But, like,
They have
one
the
thing that's-
highest rated quarterback.
One thing that really interested me is the top team in the game is the Philadelphia Eagles. And they're an
That's-
89.
They are stacked talent-wise, though.
I don't think it's a bad pick.
Position to position, they have talent at every position.
Now, I think you have something to say with the Eagles being rated that high, but you definitely have no ground to stand on with the Cowboys being the second best team.
88.
Are you kidding me? You got two teams in the same division taking the number 1 and the number 2 overall.
Ah,
I call
with
BS.
Dak.
Yeah.
He's an $18 million
I
quarterback.
can literally name 5 teams off the top of my head that are better than the Cowboys. And I would even say I could probably do 10.
Yeah, you know what? Here's one right here.
Well, there's one right there.
Well, that was a
The Cleveland
shitty take.
Browns.
I should
Cleveland
go away.
Browns.
I'll be back, boys.
The Cleveland Browns. But I mean, the New Orleans Saints. The Saints aren't better than the Cowboys. Yeah, they are.
I put them higher. I put the Patriots higher.
The Patriots get no love in the offseason.
The San
They
Diego
don't.
Chargers. That team should
Los
have a higher
Angeles
rating.
Chargers.
LA
Yeah,
Chargers.
I
Come
just
on,
messed
man.
that up hard.
What is this, 2019 or 2017? Let's
Well,
be
I
real
like to
here.
live in the past.
I'd put the Rams higher than the Cowboys. I think they got
Yeah.
more talent on their team,
Yeah.
position-wise.
Rams
Yeah.
should be higher.
I personally think that the Minnesota Vikings should be rated higher than them,
Yeah.
just on talent alone.
Did we play each other last year?
No.
2 years ago,
The
for
year
sure.
before
we
did.
won
At
that
home?
year, but
Correct.
there was no Amari Cooper. And
No.
No.
they had a different team. Their Cowboys defense got really good last
Hey,
year.
didn't they beat us by a touchdown at home, actually? I thought they edged us in that game.
That's the funniest thing about the
I
Cowboys,
don't
though, is the
remember.
Cowboys' defense is an 86 and their offense is an 86. It's stupid. Their offense is not as
Well,
good as their
special
defense.
teams is a
No, okay, I
99.
guess-
Did you look that up?
No,
I guess if we
Jail
break it
time
down-
is a 105.
not important. Well, that's another new stat.
Yeah.
Well, if you think about what
Cincinnati Bengals leading that one.
Are they? Do they have the lead right now?
They lost Vontez Burfict, so I think they might have just came right behind the Raiders.
That was
this
3/4 of the arrest last year.
Yes.
Well, that's why Hard Knocks is going to Oakland. Look at all that down there.
I'm just
Antonio
telling you.
Brown,
If you're building
Incognito,
that's true.
Burfict.
I'm just telling you right now, if I have to build an all-prison team, Marvin Lewis is my head coach. Nobody.
Jerry Jones is your owner.
You're damn right he is.
Okay. Are we gonna build this team right now? Ray Lewis is your starting linebacker.
Okay, dude.
Michael Vick is your
Accusations.
quarterback?
Just because
OJ's
you're
my running
accused.
back with Kareem Hunt.
Just because
too.
you're accused of
Son.
something. If that's the case, Big Ben has to be our quarterback. Or is it Mike Vick in roll 2?
Oh, dude, I'd take prime Mike Vick over prime Big Ben.
Who's got more Super Bowls?
Fuck it, who can run the ball?
Are we trying to win Super Bowls or are we trying to run the ball?
Can we have posthumous players?
Oh, for sure.
Aaron Hernandez at tight end?
Oh,
Well,
shit.
Yeah.
No brainer.
Absolutely.
Kellen Winslow. Hear about that guy?
Ooh,
Junior?
nutso.
Yeah, he's got some good stuff going on there.
Put some respect on the name. Senior's a Hall of Famer.
Matt
Junior's the
Jones?
fuck up in the famous.
I'm just telling you, the GIF section of Pornhub has gotten a lot more views since Kellen Winslow got a smartphone.
All right, let's get back to it. So let's look at these Madden ratings one more time.
I got a question. Antonio Brown at 98. Is he deserving to be the second best wide receiver?
No.
Still.
No.
Honestly,
Pushing,
Julio,
early
well,
30s.
Julio's tied with them. So I'd probably put Julio higher than Antonio Brown, but I don't think he's I don't think he's worthy at number 2.
Yeah, but this is the thing that I always struggle with. You're talking about Madden. You're not talking about who would I rather have on my team. Antonio Brown at a 98, I get it. I totally get it.
One of the best to play the game at the position. Scores touchdowns like crazy.
He's flashy.
Always in the top 5 or
The Raiders
every
need one
category
good
that
player on
matters.
the game.
Yeah. They got Derek Carr.
Yeah, he's probably 83 overall.
They just gave that to Raiders fans just because they feel bad.
Pretty much. They're like, here, we'll throw him a bone on Madden because that team's going to be drafting first.
So what about Odell being higher than Michael Thomas?
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. Odell's the same thing. He's more flashy.
Better player too. I mean, makes sense.
I don't agree with that.
He's definitely better at kicking a soccer net.
Making love on the side of the field.
More athletic.
For sure.
Not a better
Absolutely.
wide receiver,
athlete.
though.
That's what
Yeah,
I
but you're
said.
talking about a 6-foot guy versus a 6'2" guy. Like Michael Thomas is a different skill set from Odell Beckham. If I have a team, give me Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas has a better catch percentage.
Much better.
I think he had more
Different-
yards
Michael
last
Completely
year.
Thomas has a
different
better
quarterbacks.
quarterback.
Yep.
Michael Thomas plays in a dome for 8 games a year, guaranteed. Like, that's all things, but give me Michael Thomas all day over Odell Beckham. I'll argue this all day long if you want to, Gage.
Has he
I'm not trying
overtaken
to argue with it.
like the AJ Green? Is Michael Thomas not better than AJ Green as a similar style?
AJ Green didn't even make the top 10 on here.
Yeah, I'd say just progression of careers. You have Michael Thomas on his way up, and AJ Green is on his way down.
I would say setting injuries
Both
aside, I
Big
would say
bodied, throw the balls up to him type of guys.
give me Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
30-year-old versus 24-year-old. Thomas too.
And we got Laquan Treadwell instead of him.
Score.
Another
Great
thing that
job, Zim.
Oh yeah, Mike Zimmer is a stud. No way around that. Another thing that I was reading today that I thought was a little bit interesting to read into, and this is kind of breaking news, but Ezekiel Elliott is rumored to be planning on a holdout unless he gets a new contract. And when you look at the Cowboys, the roster, they got to pay Dak.
Yeah.
Now they might have to pay Zeke before the season starts, and they got to pay Amari Cooper at some point too. They got a lot of decisions to make, so they should enjoy this high rating on Madden because they could be out those 3 players come next year this time. For sure, they're going to be out one of them.
There's no way they can sign all 3.
No.
Hey now.
Okay, just
They
a
said the same thing about the Vikings, and here
They
we
don't have
are.
Rick
They don't-
Spielman.
They don't have Rob Brzezinski, so they're not going to be able to keep them all.
And they just gave a huge deal to Lawrence.
Yeah.
Oh, I
defensive end.
forgot. Yeah.
So just like, let's do a rapid fire quick based on who you'd rather have out of those 3 players. Give me the 2 you want: Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, Dak Prescott.
For their price point.
We'll just say for their average price point. Yeah. So you're gonna say Amari Cooper would be making about probably 17 a year. Dak would be making, for argument's sake, we'll say 26 a year, and that's team
That's
friendly.
fair.
That's
Yeah.
low.
That's team
Yeah,
That's
friendly.
way low.
Should we say 28?
30.
30.
You'd say 30.
They're talking he's a
rounded to
$30 million a
Okay,
year guy.
yeah, because Kirk is making 32 and he's only top 6 now. So yeah, we'll say Dak at 30, and then we'll say Elliott would end up making about 12 a year.
14,
Who would you? 14.
14, 15.
We'll say 14.
Yeah.
That's the David
Yeah.
Johnson
For top
number.
there.
So then is 18 for Amari low?
18 for Mars probably pretty accurate.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd
Ty,
agree.
who would you rather have out of those 3? You got to pick 2.
I'll take Dak and I'll take Cooper. Historically speaking, running backs have the shortest career, and I could see this getting into a Le'Veon Bell type situation where they don't want to give him the long deal, because when you give running backs the long deal after their 4th or 5th year, that's when they start to go downhill historically. So they want to use that franchise tag on him over giving him a 4 or 5 year deal, but he's not going to take that.
No.
I don't know why he would.
I agree with you, Ty. The running back is a tough position to nail down, and the careers don't have the average length they have. But for other positions, I feel like that's why you got to lock down Zeke when you have him in his prime. You know, I'd take Zeke and Cooper and figure out your quarterback after that. They lucked into the 3rd round with Dak, and I mean, guy can run the ball a little bit, but you don't need an expert to win football games now. Throwing the ball, you just need someone who's not going to turn the ball over, and I think Dak's done a fair job of that so far in his career, but for $30 million, I mean, you can get a lot of players with that kind of money.
Yeah, you can, but I would take Dak and Zeke. I agree with the Zeke take where he's in his prime. The guy is good. He can catch the ball. He can run. He finds the open hole. He's explosive. Can obviously jump. Everyone sees him hurdle. And his,
Pass catching.
breaking the law score is 100, and I like that. I don't really like Amari Cooper all that much, to be honest. He had, 1.5 good years in Oakland, then he started to tailor off. I mean, he's in his first year here with Dallas. I think people are going to figure it out. He had a 3-touchdown game last year. One of them came off a lucky bounce pass. He played really well, but I don't trust him. So I'd rather pay Dak to have a competent quarterback because look at the free agents. I mean, even the backups. It's hard to find a good, sustainable quarterback. And Dak may not be great, but he's a guy who's not going to turn the ball over. He can lead you down at the end of the game to win games. I don't like him at 30, but I'd say I'd take him over Amari Cooper.
I know I kind of phrased this to you guys to let you all answer first, which is exactly what I wanted because there's only one right answer here. There's only one. You have to keep Cooper because you gave up a first for him. You don't have a choice.
Agree.
You got to keep Amari Cooper. And the second guy you keep is Ezekiel Elliott.
Absolutely.
You give him one fat contract, run him into the ground, ditch him for somebody younger. Boom. And you let Dak walk because you know what? Dak could go to the Giants. He could go to the Eagles. He could go to the Redskins. He's never going to beat you. Dak is Dak.
Yep.
He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback, and I got no interest in paying that guy $30 million a year.
And how many years did the Vikings say, oh, AP is washed up. This is going to be the last year. Oh, he tore his ACL. There's no way he comes back from it. When you got a running back that's just a head and shoulders above everyone else, you give the guy the ball and you let him run it. And in Texas, they love running that pigskin. And they got their guy. That's why you lock him up.
Between Dak and Elliott, who benefits more from their stud offensive line, you think?
Dak
Because
Prescott.
we know that they have 5 really good linemen. So either of them might go to another team and not be the same person. We have no idea.
I agree.
That's completely fair. But to me, you're looking at Dak Prescott, who behind that offensive line is middle of the road, and you're looking at Zeke Elliott, who behind that offensive line is a top 5 running back. Like,
top 2.
Give me that top running back. I'll take my chances. If you're a rookie quarterback coming into the league, there's almost not a better roster to go to than Dallas. You got a Pro Bowl running back. If you keep Cooper, you got a stud wide receiver. Dallas does a decent job of drafting wideouts. Wideouts aren't that hard to find, especially when you already have a number 1. A rookie quarterback could step into that offense and succeed beyond. Honestly,
It
Dak
happened 4 years ago.
Exactly. And nobody was like drooling over Dak. There's a reason he was a 3rd-round pick.
Yep.
But he has exceeded expectations.
They're
I'd say so.
upset they missed out on Paxton Lynch in the first round.
Right. And Denver was excited to get him, and he was a total bust. That's the way the draft goes.
In some cases, I feel like that running game is helping Dak Prescott even more. I don't know if Dak goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars with Leonard Fournette. Still a good runner, but I don't think he creates the same sort of schemes that Zeke creates. There's going to be a lot of 8 men in the box. You're going to have some play actions. You're going to have open zones. It's going to be easy to attack that defense when you got one of the best running backs behind you.
Do you feel safe giving Zeke a 4 or 5 year deal with his history with the law and his suspension history? He's already gotten 8 games. Next one's longer. He's been in trouble twice in the last year.
I do, for the simple reason of the money you're paying him is half of what you're paying Dak. And also, he's only, is Zeke, 26?
Something like that,
He's
yeah.
still young enough where if he stays out of trouble, you're going to get at least 2 or 3 years out of him. So one bad year on his contract, if it ends up being that, isn't the end of the world.
And then you have the side effect of forgetting what you're going to say.
That's a good one.
Son of a bitch.
Leave it to Gager.
Well,
I got a hot take.
All right, gauge that one hard.
on that note, do we have any more quick
Oh, yeah,
fire?
we got some more hot topics.
Let's go to the next one.
I just thought that Elliott bit was interesting.
It's a hot take. Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Elliott holding out, and all I've heard about is Melvin Gordon holding out because his Chargers are not talking back to him, not giving him an idea of the money he's looking for. I know, yeah, disrespecting him. And, I mean, it's a hot talker when you got a stud running back who's talking about sitting out all of offseason. I just don't know if he's got the guts to follow through with it.
You have an intimate relationship with Melvin Gordon.
No,
You know how much guts he has, Gage? What's going on?
I mean, you're talking about a guy who's living down in California. he's coming off his rookie contract. I mean, he's probably only made $5 million in his first 4
He's
years.
a first-round pick.
I know he's a first-round pick. So they got the 5th-year option for $6 million. But
Well, Bosa, when he signed, he was number 3 overall. He got like a 5-year, $20 million deal. So I'm assuming Gordon, he's probably in like that 15 range maybe
yeah.
over the first 4 years.
So I mean, are you really going to hold out from $6 million this year to possibly get 10 more at the most? I get
Orange
the
vanilla
security of locking down a long-term deal with some guaranteed money. That's the hot talker right now with the new contracts, how much guaranteed you can get.
Well, whatever contract he's getting, it's going to be guaranteed. Now, I wonder what was more disrespectful to him. Do you think it was the money or do you think it was the years?
I haven't even
Maybe
heard
they
any
lowballed him on.
details yet.
I haven't either, but do you think they lowballed him on the years? They're like,
They would be
we'll
smart
take you
to.
for 3 instead of 5.
Well, what it was with Bell was the money. I mean,
But he
Money per year.
didn't. He didn't make that money back.
He
Yeah,
got
he
less
did.
money.
and that's why if you're Melvin Gordon, like, it's hard. But and if I'm a running back in the NFL, give me term. If I can get term and get 12 million, 14 million a year, even if I'm a top running back, unfortunately for them, you're not going to get much better than that.
Nope.
Especially when you're Melvin Gordon, who has had some injuries.
10 years ago, Adrian Peterson was one of the only running backs getting paid. Him
Yeah.
and Shady McCoy. That was a dying position for a while until St. Louis Rams guy.
Gurley.
Todd Gurley?
Todd Gurley.
Or are you talking Steven Jackson?
No, Todd Gurley brought it back.
Oh,
Well,
And then they started getting the big contracts.
Now look at the Rams now. I mean, you're talking about Todd Gurley with arthritis in his knee right after he's 1 year into his, 4-year, $130 million deal?
No,
That's-
it wasn't that much.
No, but that's
He's
literally,
getting about 14 and a half a year,
this
I'm pretty
is
sure.
an NBA contract. That's literally, though, the argument against running backs. And that's why if you're arguing about, like, back to the Cowboys, the argument against Zeke is, like, running backs can fall off after 1 year. They can be just done.
But when you got your guy, you have to lock him up. You got to use him. You got to run the wheels till they fall off.
Yeah, and that's why, like I say, at 26, give me him. Let me run him into the ground for 4 years, and we'll move on.
How much worse was the Chargers' offense when Melvin Gordon didn't play last year, though? I feel like it wasn't that much of a fall off.
No, not
It was.
Compared to when Zeke was out on the Cowboys, there was an offensive fall off.
The only thing to me that makes it a little more tricky with the Chargers is Phillip Rivers is getting no younger.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to potentially lose him in the next 2 or 3 years to a retirement, which is possible, you'd like to have a running back like Gordon in the backfield.
Now, hold on. Rivers still has those spry balls popping kids out every other year. I mean, the guy has got youth down to his core.
They're waiting
many
for
kids
his
does he have?
oldest to take over, I think.
Oh, dude, there's
Train
no
him
doubt. There's no doubt that him and his wife do it like rabbits,
Oh, yeah.
and that's a good thing. I mean, good for them.
Keeping him
At
young
that
in the
age?
sack.
Wow. Good
Yeah.
for you.
Keep him young in the pocket, all right?
Some blue chewables, apparently.
He
Been
puts
crushing
a whole
those things.
he puts a whole new meaning into hot yoga.
Other teams are afraid. He's like, I'm rocking a major boner. You're not sacking me.
And his damn bolo ties.
The best part is his trash talking on the field. I mean, no one can trash talk without swearing like Phillip Rivers.
Kirk Cousins. You ever
You
seen
know
him give
what,
a
guys?
pump-up
I think-
speech?
I think
You like
Rivers.
that?
I think Rivers gets
like that?
stroked plenty. I don't think we have to sit and stroke him. I think he's doing okay in life.
I don't
Let's,
think he's
um,
opposing, but let's move on.
That's fair. Let's go on to the topic, and this one's going to be very controversial. One of us might throw a punch here, so
Oh, shit.
we'll see.
Why did I just
But-
get looked at?
I'm interested in hearing who each of you guys have for your overall top scoring fantasy football player this year in PPR.
Oh,
Easy.
shit.
Justin Tucker.
Boom. There's one. That's pretty fucking stupid, but
Highest
there's one.
scoring player. All right. J Tuck off the board.
Yep, number 101 if I got the first pick. No, my guy here finished in third for running backs last year. I think he came in like 9th overall for points scored in standard scoring. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He gets better every year. He's got a quarterback coming back off a shoulder surgery who's looking pretty good. Christian McCaffrey. He's my top guy this year.
Nice. I don't think you have any arguments. I mean, he's a stud running back. Just not as good as my guy. Also, an excellent pass catcher. Runs the ball well between the tackles. Coming at you from the desert of Arizona, Mr. David Johnson.
Well, there are wrong answers, and you definitely gave one there.
Hey, now, hot take here. He goes 1,000 for 1,000. 1,000 receiving, 1,000 rushing. Take
Behind what
I got
offensive line?
$20 against that.
Give me the water.
I'll give you 1 to 2 odds.
Butthole bets. My
Butthole.
20 equals your 40.
Sure. 1,000 and 1,000.
1,000, receiving, rushing.
Dude,
You heard it here first,
I would
folks.
literally take a Division III college football team's offensive line over the Arizona Cardinals.
Now get this. You have Cliff Kingsbury coming in with young Kyler Murray, who's the Heisman winner. And what's he going to do? He's going to dump the ball to his running back and his tight end over the middle.
David
When
Johnson
his-
is RB2 on that team.
Oh, my gosh.
Kyler Murray's number 1.
Who was Oklahoma's running back last year that he dumped the ball off to constantly? Oh, yeah. You don't even know, do you?
Fuck college football. Actually, fuck every sport that's not NFL and MLB, for the record.
Now we're losing people. Thank you, everyone who's still listening. Hi, Sandy.
Well, no, it's
Fuck
just
you,
a
Peter.
stupid
She didn't make
take.
it this long.
I'll even make what is possibly a more dumb take off of your really dumb take.
Okay.
He has a better chance of receiving for 1,000 yards than he does rushing for 1,000 because the offensive line is so garbage. And
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
sorry, but like David Johnson, the David Johnson that I watched last year, that was not the David Johnson that I'd seen the years before. He was not the same player.
He's coming back better, though.
We'll
Completely
see.
incompetent team. I mean,
We literally just got done
this-
talking about how running backs fall off.
Yeah, absolutely. And David
I mean-
Johnson will be an example of what that's not. You know.
And
His
He's got-
injury
I
was
will
not
eat
a
crow.
leg injury.
yeah.
He didn't get
injured
slower because of his injury.
He injured his wrist, dislocated wrist.
that's fair, but how many good years did the guy have before he was injured for a year?
3 great years.
One great year, full season
With a
one,
loaded team.
What do you define as great?
leading scorer in the league.
With a loaded team though. Like I don't know. I'm not
Loaded
sold.
team.
Talent wise,
Who
he's
was his-
capable of it.
John
Scheme-wise,
Skeleton
I
was
don't
his
know if
QB,
they'll do
or
it.
who was his QB back 2-3 years ago?
We had Carson Palmer towards
Carson.
the end.
Palmer. I thought he was a Bengal.
No, Palmer was not a horrible quarterback. Like they had good wide receivers. They had one of the best wide receivers of all time.
Maybe a decade ago, you'd have a point.
No.
So
Larry Fitzy has just defied age.
just to go back and reiterate some things here, you said 3 good years, David Johnson?
That'd be
did.
tied.
Oh,
on
3
record.
good years?
I said 1 full and 1 partial.
Okay.
He took over like midway through his rookie season, so that's a half
Yep.
season.
And every
Yep.
time he touched the ball,
He came in 2015. So 16 games, 581 rushing yards, 457 passing for a
Look
total
at
of
attempts and
12
touchdowns.
TDs.
And pocketed.
That's when he took over the starting job midway
Yep.
through the season.
So he had 1 full year after that before getting hurt.
And that was his.
That was
And then he signed
293
his
rushes
long-term deal.
for 1239, 16 touchdowns,
16
80
touchdowns.
grabs for 879 yards, and 4 touchdowns.
20
Dude,
touchdowns.
You take
total.
away his
Then
20
injured.
touchdowns, and he's not.
But
he's
you're
not
taking away
groundbreaking.
touchdowns. The guy
Touchdowns
is
aren't
a
guaranteed.
touchdown
That's-
scorer.
We
That's
argued not that long ago
2,000
that
yards.
Kamara wasn't going to get the same amount of
That's-
touchdowns he got last
It
year.
is.
I
How
know.
is that not good?
It's not
That's
bad, but
2,000
it's 1
yards.
year. But
we
it's
just
1
made
year.
that bet, Ty.
Yeah,
you're-
but that wasn't one of each.
I know.
That's
Remember
the part
this,
that's
though.
hard about it.
This is where it gets me. With a rookie quarterback, he's just going to get more passing opportunities.
Or it could be a
The
complete
guy
disaster.
has the explosiveness when he touches the ball to take it to the house every single play. And I know his stats didn't look great last year. There were a lot of big plays that get called back on holding penalties that don't go into the stat column.
Right, because you sat and watched every Cardinals game.
When your guy is your number 1 running back, you watch him when they're on. Man.
When they're on local TV, yeah.
Yeah, because
Hey,
you don't
did
have
Not
Not
at,
a
not at
baller with
noon
the
when
because
the
your
lights
wife,
are on.
because
Red
your
zone.
fiance doesn't let you buy the Sunday ticket because it's too much money.
Dude, fuck DirecTV. I ain't got DirecTV, okay? Fuck that shit.
All right, Ty, who do you got? Is there a
Um,
reason why you're wearing
A Chargers shirt.
a Chargers shirt? Are you about to say Melvin Gordon?
You about to
Doesn't
say
say.
Ryan Leaf?
Doesn't say Chargers.
Yeah, this is the
Hydroponics.
hydroponics. Well, I
San
don't know who they
Diego Hydroponics. It's a weed store in San Diego.
Oh, sick.
Hell of a display
Hey,
case.
no free plugs, though.
They have a hell of a display case.
Well, I was going to try to pick someone different, and I assumed that Saquon was going to be off the board by now, and he's not. So I had Kamara was in the hole ready to get shot out, but I think I'm going to change it up to Saquon right now. I just think talent-wise, he's the only person that you could argue is better than Elliott. There's a lot of people that are similar to him, but just the one that is better talent-wise is Saquon Barkley. And they don't have wide receivers. They got a talented tight end that hasn't done anything yet.
You don't like Golden Tate?
I just think he's over the hill. How did he do for the Eagles last year?
Well,
Was he their number one guy?
He was buried on a
Were
star-studded
they
roster.
throwing cash at him, saying, we want you?
Hey, they had to sign Deshaun, man.
I think Shepard is better than Golden Tate. I think he'll have a better season in fantasy. But I think he's going to catch a lot of balls. I think he's going to run a ton. I think he's going to be a touchdown machine if they can get the ball into the red zone. And I could easily see him being the number 1 point scorer this year in fantasy football.
First of all, I hate you. Because I literally had to reroute where I was going. Because Alvin Kamara is not on my list, and Saquon was with a bullet, my top guy. So next time...
Should have went first.
Yeah. Next time, I'm going first. With that being said, I'm going to add my guy with a little asterisk because I feel like fucking Goodell is going to put him on the gosh dang. He's going to suspend him. But if he doesn't, it's going to be Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke Elliott will have the top. He's in a contract year. His quarterback's in a contract year.
He's sitting out.
The offensive line's no worse. He won't make it to the regular season sitting out. They'll pay him before that because they know what he's worth. If he doesn't get suspended, he will be the top scorer. Now, I'll add in a second one just in case he does. If he does get suspended, it's going to be DeAndre Hopkins because the dude is a monster. And Deshaun Watson's going to be healthy, ready to roll. And I know it's a little bit of a dark horse, but DeAndre Hopkins is an absolute freak. And there's nobody in that division that can shut him down. Nobody, as far as cornerbacks
Is there
go.
really anybody in the league that can shut him down?
I don't think so. But when I look at the division, that's 6 games a year. The guy's a monster.
Rack up the stats.
This may not be on your list, but I think we should just rapid fire it. One breakout guy that hasn't really ever done a thing in fantasy football that's going to have a breakout season this year. We'll start with you.
Well, this one's a little bit tricky, just in the sense of you could pick a guy that was a rookie last year, but I don't feel like that's really fair to do.
I think it is. If this is going to be their breakout year in fantasy.
Yeah, can break out year 2. Look at Mahomes.
That's true. All
I mean,
right.
that was his first shot, but essentially a rookie. But yeah,
Yeah, that's fair. The running back for the Lions, what's his name?
Kerryon Johnson.
Kerryon Johnson. That's my guy.
Yeah. The only thing I'd argue against that is that he
Didn't
kind of
really
did
do
good.
nothing last
Yeah, he
year.
did all right last year. He didn't come from obscurity. I believe you drafted him in the 6th round of our draft, right before I was going to.
Yeah, that's why, like I say, it's a little tough.
So thank you.
How about
It-
this guy? I'll go with Jameis Winston. I mean, I don't think he's ever been in the top 10 of quarterbacks, fantasy football-wise,
He
but
is not.
I could see him running the ball like he has before. Maybe a couple years later with don't they have a new offensive coordinator this
They got a
year?
new
A new
Coach.
coach.
New
Bruce
coach
Arians.
altogether. Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
BA, yep.
Yeah.
The guy who
Maybe,
kind of led David Johnson to success, who's gone now. That one.
Yeah, he did great stuff in Indianapolis, too. But maybe
Ronald
he could
Jones is gonna be the
whisper to
breakout guy
Jameis
this year.
Winston. He finds O.J. Howard
I like
in the
Ronald
mix a
Jones.
little bit more. Younger receivers grow up a little bit. Mike Evans is still a
Who's their other
huge
receivers?
threat.
They got
Chris
Deshaun Jackson
Godwin.
still.
Who?
They still got Deshaun Jackson.
Deshaun
Deshaun
Jackson
Jackson
is
went
an
to the
Eagle.
Eagles.
That's right, they got rid of him.
Yeah.
Adam Humphries is gone too. He's a Titan.
Doesn't matter. They have O.J. Howard.
O.J. Howard,
They have,
Cameron Brate, the
yeah,
Goodwin
Brate.
character.
Yep.
I forget
Was it?
it.
It's not Marquise, is it?
Chris
No,
Godwin.
Chris
Godwin.
There it
Yeah,
is.
I get those two
They
mixed
got
up.
players.
And then 2 running backs that could still catch the ball a little bit. So,
Sorry, they're going to 1-15. My bad.
but Jameis will be a top 10 QB.
Yeah, okay, we'll see.
All right, my guy has slowly crept up from his rookie year. This is his 3rd year in the league. Guy's tall. He's fast. He can catch the ball. Plays on a rival of ours, Kenny Galladay.
That is
two-
actually a good one.
Yeah, the guy, he's a monster. I like him, and now that he's in his 3rd year, he had a lot of good things last year with Matthew Stafford, and that guy can sling the fucking pigskin. He's gonna have a hell of a year. Coming off my taxi squad,
I like that one
Stud.
a lot, actually. I like it a lot. Ty, who you got?
I'm on dig deep. This guy, I believe, was undrafted. Maybe was rostered for a couple weeks. He was coming off of an ACL tear in college, but he also led his college football season in rushing. I'm going Deontay Foreman for the Houston Texans, who I think Miller's getting a little older. I think he needs someone to come take it from him. And Deontay Foreman's going to be that guy as long as he can stay healthy this year.
I like that.
I like that a lot. He showed promise. He showed a lot of promise before he got hurt. All right. With that being said, that concludes this podcast. So make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Official Budhole.
That's BUDHOLE.
That is BUD. That's damn right. Don't get it twisted. Feel free to email us if you have questions or comments or have a topic you want us to discuss. Officialbutthole@gmail.com. And then another thing I'd like to add in is the concept that we're actually starting a campaign to get some T-shirts ordered for people that want to rep our wear. To where if you want one, just shoot us an email with your size and the color that you want, which the options are blue, black, and gray. And once we get enough people that have interest in them, we'll order some and we'll sell them at $15 a T-shirt.
Also, subscribe to us on iTunes or whatever platform that you might be finding our podcast.
Yeah, iTunes, iHeart, and Stitcher. Yeah, with that being said, too, check out our weekly blog posts on our website, which you can find at Twitter and Instagram as well. Yeah, that concludes this podcast.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Until next time.
Bye. Bye.